이승훈입니다. 여러분 반갑습니다. 저랑만 인사 나누지 마시고요. 오늘 그 게임에 관련해서 이제 장을 저희가 좀 만들어 드렸기 때문에 앞뒤 양옆 보시면서 오늘 오신 분들께도 인사 한번 좀 드릴까요? 반갑습니다. 인사 한번 드릴까요? 반갑습니다. 반갑습니다. 참 오시면서 기분 좋은 가을바람 느끼셨죠? 시원한 가을바람과 함께 금일 글로벌 컨퍼런스가 좀 진행이 되게 되는데요. 시작에 앞서서 잠시 안내 말씀드리고 가도록 하겠습니다. 금일 행사는 세션 1과 세션 2로 나눠서 진행이 됩니다. 첫 번째 1부에서는 해외 연사분 3분과 함께 저희가 진행을 할 거고요. 그리고 두 번째 2부에서는 국내 연사분들 3분과 함께 진행이 될 겁니다. 그래서 이 점 참고해서 금일 글로벌 컨퍼런스에 참석해 주시면 될 것 같고요. 다시 한 번 더 말씀드립니다. 그 팔찌 꼭 행사 말미까지 지참해 주시기를 부탁 말씀을 드리겠습니다. 자, 그러면 세미나 개최하기에 앞서서 저희 이번 글로벌 컨퍼런스에 대해서 간략히 소개를 좀 도와드리고 들어가도록 하겠습니다. 경기도가 주최하고 경기콘텐츠진흥원이 주관하는 경기게임 글로벌 위크의 행사 마지막 날입니다. 글로벌 컨퍼런스는 게이미들을 위한 글로벌 행사로서 게임 산업에 대한 국내외 관심도를 고취시키고 업계 종사자 간의 만남에 장을 만들기 위해서 준비가 됐는데요. 오늘 이 시간이 귀한 시간에서 오신 분들께 더욱더 가치 있고 소중한 정보를 얻어갈 수 있는 시간이 되기를 바라겠습니다. 자, 그럼 오늘 저희 세미나 진행하는 데 있어서 아무래도 연사분도 말씀을 주시겠지만 여러분께서도 궁금하신 부분이 있어서 질문을 하실 거잖아요. 그래서 오늘 진행은 혼자서만 진행하지 않고요. 여러분과 좀 소통한다는 의미를 좀 가지고 진행을 해보도록 하겠습니다. 제가 드리는 말씀이 좀 이해가 되시면 고개를 이렇게 끄덕이시면서 딱 요 한마디만 해주시면 됩니다. 고개를 끄덕이시면서 라고 해주시면은 이해하셨구나 라고 생각하고 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다. 저희 연습 한번 해볼까요? 하나, 둘, 셋. 네, 아직 조금 이해가 덜 된 것 같지만 진행이 되면서 순차적으로 좋은 정보 얻어가실 수 있을 것 같습니다. 자, 그러면 여러분의 적극적인 참여와 그리고 힘찬 박수로 첫 행사의 문을 열어보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 그럼 지금부터 경기게임아카데미 오픈 세미나 글로벌 컨퍼런스 우리 여러분의 힘찬 박수와 함께 시작합니다. 앞서 말씀드렸던 것처럼 1부에서는 해외 연사 3분을 모시고 진행을 한다고 말씀을 드렸었는데요. 먼저 첫 번째 연사분에 대한 소개를 좀 드리겠습니다. 첫 번째 순서는 태국 God Like Games입니다. God Like Games는 최고 수익 게임 탑 20 그리고 무료 게임 탑 50 판타지 랩을 출시하고 MMORPG 블레이드 앤 소울 2를 런칭을 해서 현재 운영 중에 있습니다. 어떠한 노하우를 가지고 있는지 또 어떠한 정보를 가지고 있는지 여러분 함께 경청해 주시면 좋겠습니다. 자, 그럼 God Like Games의 트리수리 마노페치 대표님 힘찬 박수로 맞아주시기 바랍니다.
Hello, good morning everyone. สวัสดีครับ First, I would like to thank you for inviting me to a very special event. And I would like to tell you if I make any mistake, please forgive me. Because this is my first time on an event like this. So I need this. So now today I would like to talk about who knows current Thai game market. Okay, mobile game, PC game, the market is getting bigger every day. Also in Thailand, not only the Thailand, Southeast Asia market has many countries like Myanmar. No one went to Myanmar. Now this year we saw Tencent. Tencent is the first company going to Myanmar. Okay, so this is just a stat, I think. Right now in Thailand, now 6 million mobile game player. Yeah, and average CPI is about 0.91. But now Android is making license, so before Apple user maybe pay more to the game, but right now Android is getting double. So current status of Thailand market. Thailand is now number 3 growing market in Southeast Asia. Thailand now has a population of 69 million users. There are 41 million internet users. Also, Facebook users, we have 49 million. That is almost everyone in Thailand. They have Facebook. Only maybe people that don't have access to the internet, they just don't have Facebook. Yeah, and smartphone users is about 25 million. For right now, number 1 device manufacturer, everyone use Samsung is number 1, and sure it will be Android of the OS, the most popular. And the number 1 search engine is Google. Also, number 1 social network is Facebook. But right now, like in Korea, Instagram is rising, and number 1 messenger still Line. So now, overall, revenue from mobile game is about 597 million US dollar. So now Thailand is in number 20 of the whole global market. So in Thailand we have a mobile game, web game, PC game. Yesterday I talked with one developer in Korea. He said something to me about HTML5 games, and he thinks in China right now HTML5 is really popular, and maybe you guys want to make HTML5 games for Thailand market to be the first move in Thailand market. Okay, yeah, PC online web game. So who knows the global market? Can you tell me? Everyone knows the global market because this kind of information you could get it from the Google, you could get it from App Annie, you could get it from Apple. So everyone know it. You need to know it. But another thing I want to tell you. It is a very important thing, and many new developers doesn't know about it. And when they launch the game, it makes many problems to them. And many times the game just live 2 weeks and maybe 1 month. What will you feel if you you invest on developing a game 2 or 10 million US dollar and your game is have just only 2 weeks lifetime? What do you think? You must know the deep understanding about game market. Right now, market trend, everyone see influencer, they see YouTube, and you need to know customer behavior. In Thailand, everyone uses Facebook, so you need to have an advertising in Facebook. Example, I will bring our game. Our game is a showcase. We licensed from a Korean developer, and we launched in Thailand just this July. We get into top 5 grossing and free. But in first week, we didn't do any CPI. We didn't do any paid advertise because we did pre-advertise a lot. We did a viral video. We did a community building. So why we don't have CPI in the first week? Because we cannot follow number of many users they coming. So only organic user just full of our server. Here is some example. from our viral video and influencer marketing, KBC. Could you turn on the sound? So this one is like we hire more than 200 influencers in YouTube to play our game. And you need to think it very hard because there are many influencers in the YouTube, and I need to tell this one. We also make them tell player why to pay, how to pay, why do you need to pay, to make them pay more. And also about YouTuber. Some YouTuber they may have 5 million people subscribe, 10 million people subscribe, but you will need to think about some of 5 million and 10 million. They are same people, so you need to be going every follower type. This one is our viral video. It is about Korean word. Thai people hear it wrong. I think I don't know what in the game they say, but Thai people they hear as a imo ayo, and my developer friends said imo ayo in Korean also have a meaning like are you aunt? Is that right? This is our advertised video. So you also have to have a good relationship with the community. So every time we have a media conference, we invite users to come to our media conference to talk with them about what they feel, what they think about the game. So they also feel they are being involved in the game developing. So they will play for a long time. This one is all player, so they will get involved. So market trend right now, everyone play battle royale, battleground games in Thailand. And now in Southeast Asia, there are many people interested in esports. So I think next year esports is coming. So you may want to think about making esports game. Okay, Thailand is fastest growing video game market in Southeast Asia right now. Whole population of Thailand and Southeast Asia is 548 million people. The whole population, Indonesia has the most population, and Philippines, and Vietnam and Thailand. But I think Thailand has the most paid user in Southeast Asia. I'm talking about how about if you launch global market together, or Southeast Asia market, or just Thailand market dedicatedly. If you launch global together, Thailand people is like Korean people, so they doesn't like to play with other country user. They just like to play with each other, Thai people. And if you launch all maybe 6 market, global market together, you may get $1 million from Thailand. You will get maybe $1 million from Indonesia. But if you launch in Thailand only, you may get $10 million if you make it dedicated server. Because like Thailand, Japan, and other Southeast Asia countries, they want to play on their own server. So, do you think you will skip that and just I'm okay with 1 million from Thailand, 1 million from Indonesia? That's why the old things still working. And they are another reason. If you hire translation anywhere, if you hire translation in Korean company to make a Thai version, you may think it is okay, but many overseas games that come to Thailand, maybe Chinese game, Korean game, that they hide the translation to Thai language. It has many problems because many words it just actually doesn't like word, and people doesn't understand your story. People don't understand your game meaning. So you may lost the cost when you want to make a game. So it is just a marketing. If you have a local partner, you get a good localization skill and more local player that fans of the publisher, and better way of communicate between player and our publisher. So I think it is a less cost if you get local publisher. So another thing I want to tell you is about listing. There are many things that make your games just lifelong, just 1 week, 2 months. One cheater could affect hundreds of players. Because if one cheater is a Superman, another player will not happy about it, and they will be stop paying. Without paying, if they are Superman, no one happy. So you need to check about hacking seriously. You need to protect your games in a server, not in a client. You may think you could use any hack shield or any game protection, but it is always possible to break it. And many times you may get $1 million from revenue, but when hacks come in, everything may be zero. So you need to check everything. You need to check about player behavior. You need to check database when the game launch. And there are many kinds of hacking. Memory hacking. Right now, for mobile game, it is very popular to use memory hacking. And many people also think that client protection is possible, but no. Also, in Thailand, they also have phishing website. They make a website like the publisher themselves, but tell user to enter their username and password. And after that, they taking over the user account, and that will make both publisher and developer problem. Also piracy. Many games before they leak server file to the public, and there are many private servers in Thailand, especially Ragnarok. For Ragnarok, I think there are almost 1,000 use 1,000 server in Thailand 10 years before, and it is more than, I think, more than 100,000 CCU that publisher lost from private server. So you need a very good publisher to deal with it. Private server is a pirate, so they steal money from you. They steal money from developer, from publisher. So you need to think about it seriously. So in Thailand, we also have a solution to kill the pirate server. Last month we just closed down 50 private server for GYEONgggi. GYEONgggi is a game from M-Game. Here is a picture of when we closed down private server, because we have relationship with the Thai government and they help us to close down it. Okay, thank you.
자, 저희 첫 번째 연사분이셨었죠. 태국 가나이 게임즈 대표님 함께 모셨는데, 잠시, wait, okay, come here. 저희 함께 그 질의응답 시간을 좀 가져보도록 하겠습니다. 우리 번역해주시면 함께 좀 자리 이동을 좀 먼저 부탁을 드리겠고요. 일단은 처음이라 좀 긴장 많이 되셨을 텐데, 통역으로 다 함께 들으셨죠? 네. 그래서 태국의 전반적인 시장에 대한 이해와, 그리고 이제 태국 시장에서는 어떤 그 리스크가 있고 좀 조심을 해야 되는지에 대한 부분 말씀해 주셨는데, 일단은 감사드리면 박수 한번 보내드려도 괜찮을까요? 자, 그러면은 저희 자유롭게 질문 한 2분 정도 받을 수 있을 것 같습니다. 혹시 궁금하신 부분 있으면 자유롭게 손 들고 말씀 주시면 되거든요. 네, 저희 가운데 계신 마이크 전달 좀 부탁을 드리겠고요.
네, 안녕하세요. IGS의 김지훈 PM이라고 합니다. 네, 그 태국 시장에서 결제 관련해서 질문을 좀 드리고 싶은데요. 흔히 알려진 정보로는 이제 신용카드 사용률이 낮아서 구글이나 애플보다는 현지 퍼블리셔를 통한 제3자 결제가 주 비율을 차지하고 있다고 들었습니다. 혹시 관련해서 뭐 SDK라든지 아니면은 그 관련된 그 제3자 결제 관련 정보를 좀 얻을 수 있을까요?
He's Kim Ji-hoon PM from ICS, and he'd like to ask you about Thailand's payment system. As far as he knows, the credit card system is not well used in Thailand, so he heard that Google or Apple payment is not made, but rather it is usually made by the third player in the local market, such as SDK or other relative parties. So he's wondering if you can introduce any payment system in the local market of Thailand.
Hello, Kim Ji-hoon. Am I pronouncing right?
안녕하세요. 김지훈 씨라고 제가 제대로 발음한 게 맞나요?
Okay. In Thailand, there are not many people that use credit card, so we use a prepaid card. There are many prepaid cards that are available, so I think you need, if you think of Thai market seriously, you will need to connect all. First one, the most popular one is True Money. True Money is from True Company. They sell at all convenience stores, so you may need to connect with True Money. Also, okay.
우선은 아까 말씀하신 대로 신용카드 자체는 태국에서 많이 사용되고 있지 않습니다. 저희 같은 경우 선불카드를 많이 사용하고 있는데요. 만약에 태국 시장에 진심으로 이렇게 진출을 하실 것을 생각하고 계신다면, 그렇다면 투마니라고 저희 편의점에 가면은 보통 많이 파는 선불카드가 있는데, 그쪽이랑 연결하는 걸 한번 고려해 보시는 게 좋을 듯합니다.
So, but now Apple Pay and Google Pay, they also connect to True Money, but many users doesn't know about it. So, if you launch a game in Thailand, you would like to have a little guide how to pay Apple Pay with a True Money or something like that. Also, we have Alipay.
네, 현재 사실 애플이나 아니면 구글 같은 경우도 투만이랑 같이 연결을 해서 현재 결제 시스템을 구축해놨습니다. 그러나 이용자분들이 아직 그것을 잘 모르시고 계시기 때문에 게임을 런칭하실 때 그때 결제 방법에 대해서 간단하게 안내가 있으면 훨씬 편할 것 같습니다. 참고로 알리페이도 저희는 지금 결제 방법으로 채택하고 있습니다.
충분한 답변을 드렸을까요? 네. 혹시 또 다른 분 혹시 또 질문 있으실까요? 네, 따로 더 궁금하신 부분 없으실까요? 첫 번째 강의해주신 우리 갈라이트 게임즈의 트리수리 만호패치님과 함께 질의응답 시간 모두 마쳐보도록 하겠고요. 다시 한 번 더 우리 먼 길 마다않고 와주셨습니다. 감사의 박수로 네, 환송해 주시면 고맙겠습니다. 땡큐. 자, 이렇게 첫 번째 시간까지 모두 저희가 마무리가 됐고요. 잠시 두 번째 강연 위해서 무대 정리 후에 다시 한 번 더 안내를 드리도록 하겠습니다. 두 번째 강연 잠시 후에 뵙도록 하겠습니다. 두 번째 해외 연사분을 모시고 진행을 할 텐데요. 1부 순서가 끝나고 나면 2부 순서로 바로 넘어가기 전에 앞서서 저희가 간단한 좀 케이터링을 준비했습니다. 핑거푸드를 준비를 했기 때문에 쉬는 시간 좀 여유있게 드릴 거거든요. 그래서 1부 시간 끝나고 로비로 이동하셔서 가볍게 즐기실 수 있는 핑거푸드 준비했으니까 함께 즐겨주시면 되겠습니다. 자, 그러면 두 번째 순서입니다. 두 번째 순서는 미국 블루스 스택스입니다. 블루스 스택은 전세계 2억 1천만 명이 즐기고 있는 넘버원 앱 플레이어를 운영하고 있는데요. 이번 시간에는 글로벌 서비스 경험과 함께 아마 풍부한 노하우를 공유해 줄 수 있는 그런 시간이 되지 않을까 생각이 듭니다. 아마 게임 개발하시는 분들께서 더욱더 귀를 쫑긋 세우고 들으실 수 있는 시간이 되지 않을까 생각이 드는데요. 많은 노하우와 경험을 얻어가시길 바라겠습니다. 자, 그럼 블루스 스택스의 로젠 차르마 대표님 박수로 맞아주시기 바랍니다.
Hello. So how many of you are game developers? Maybe about 15 or so. Anyway, today I'm going to talk a lot about makeup and cosmetics along with gaming, and so hopefully you'll have fun. But there very few people know why we started this company. I have 4 daughters, and you know, when they were young, if you have kids, you just give them your phone and say, if you don't make noise when you go to a restaurant or something. And then they would come home and say, how do we play this game on the home PC? And so we said, oh, there's an idea there, we should let people play mobile games on PC. So that's how we started this company. And that was 2011. Now in 2018, we are now the second largest PC gaming platform behind Steam, and we are catching up really fast. A lot of people, you know, refer to us as emulator, and that's where we started. But about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we actually evolved into a gaming platform. And so it is just sometimes we wake up and the scale of this is so massive that it surprises us and surprises a lot of people. So this is just to give you an idea of, you know, our size. So we are about 200 people. We are spread in about 20 countries. There are about 2 billion apps played on BlueStacks every month. And on any given day, about 40,000 unique apps are played. A lot of users play for very long periods of time, so the average is about 5 hours a day, and we have about 300 million users. And today, this morning, we announced the latest version of our product, which is called BlueStacks 4. And you know, as we continue on this journey, one thing we are finding is that gaming itself is changing worldwide. It is changing in ways that sometimes are not intuitive. For example, the #1 game in Brazil on BlueStacks is a Chinese game which has no translation, right? Which is not something you would expect. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And you know, one of the tough things about this market is when a user plays on PC, they expect that the game behaves exactly like a game on PC would behave. They don't think of this as a mobile game or a PC game. It's a game they are playing on PC. Whether it came from Android or not is completely irrelevant to them. So this is something we have done a lot of work on. It's how to make the games to be more like PC games rather than mobile games. And this is just taking advantage of, on the mobile, your small, limited screen size. As soon as you get a big screen size, you can do stuff that you could not do before. So for example, if you have a game where you have to type and chat, that is something people find much easier to do. This is a very interesting point which has happened this year. This is the Antutu benchmark, and it shows the Antutu benchmark on an iPhone 10 and on an MSI gaming PC, so with BlueStacks. So if you look at an iPhone 10 or Samsung 9 or Samsung 10, they're usually the Antutu benchmark is in 235,000, 277,000, that kind of range. And these are published, right? These are not our benchmarks. But if you take MSI gaming PC and run BlueStacks on it, the same benchmark is 1.6 million. So it is very rare in gaming industry that you can get a 8x or 10x performance improvement or performance jump over anything. And we have just started this program where we are working with several of the device manufacturers into what we think will be the best mobile gaming device. And so you'll see a family of a lot of such devices coming out. And this is an interesting point also, because if you look at the high-end phones, gamers are one of the biggest consumers of high-end phones. Because the games from 2 years ago don't run well on, games today don't run well on phones from 2 years ago, because the games are evolving very fast. And this completely changes that dynamic. So if you think of what a best mobile gaming device today is, it's probably not your phone. It is probably a device which is running BlueStacks. And soon you will see devices which are running BlueStacks, but you won't even know about it. You're just going to consume the content as if it was just like any other device. So this is, that was a little bit about BlueStacks and where we come from. So one advantage we have is because we are used pretty heavily in about 100 plus countries, and people use us to play mobile games. We have a perspective of learning from all these markets simultaneously. And we now have people on the ground in 20 markets, like we have about 5 people in Korea. And how apps are being discovered is going through a transformation, just like makeup did or cosmetics did. And it's pretty interesting to watch, actually. So this is how everything has evolved on the internet. So you had like you used to go and search on Google, and then we have the Play Store. So you went and searched in a store, and the equivalent for that, I don't know in Korea, but like in the US would be Google and Amazon, right? So people go and search on Google, and then they go search on Amazon. But what's happening is that 60% of searches are now originating on Amazon. Like if you wanted to buy something, you no longer go to Google, you just go to Amazon. And then in some industries like makeup, this is not how it works anymore. So for example, if you use certain products, like my daughters, they just go to YouTube or they go to Instagram, and they first check out what's happening on YouTube and what's happening on Instagram. Then they go find the things that they want to buy or they want to use. And this is happening in gaming worldwide, and you are beginning to see, I would say it's kind of like beginning of the phase, so you're not seeing it in big numbers yet, but I think in a year or year and a half, game discovery will be completely transformed. And so what's happening is that the influencers, YouTube, Twitch, and those videos, which have never been a big part of mobile gaming, are becoming the primary way of discovering apps in the ecosystem. And that's why I say, The number one app on BlueStacks in Brazil is a Chinese app which has no translation. And you ask, how are people playing these apps? Well, the streamer, went through and told them how they have to play the app. And then somebody wrote a blog of all the menu items. Because if you play an RPG game, most RPG games are similar. They have the same dynamics inside the game. And so this phenomenon, while it's not new, the scale at which it is happening is pretty unprecedented. So similarly, in Japan, one of our streamers, he streams this Taiwanese game, and that game is now number 4 or 5 in the charts. Right? So traditionally, when game developers think of publishing a game in different countries, they go country by country, they have ops team per country, they think about investment in these countries. But I think that's all going to change. For example, if you think of YouTube and K-pop, like my daughter, she listens to BTS and she reads manga and watches manga, reads anime, right? So these kids are global. They don't wait. So I think every Friday night, the new chapter comes out in Japan. They never wait for the official translation. Within 3 hours, there's a fan translated version, and all the kids in US read the fan translated version. So if you think that the users are waiting for your games to get translated before using them, that's not what's happening. The games are being consumed as they are coming out, and they are being consumed. So think you're a streamer, right? What you want to tell your audience or show your audience something cool and new, what everybody is not doing. Right? So it is in your interest also to show content which is not available in your country. Right? And once they begin doing that, the game actually spreads pretty quickly. So I think this whole model of how we think about country by country, sometimes we think about it from an economics perspective or a payments perspective, but if you don't have those barriers where the payments all go through Google Play or go through Apple, how you publish globally is undergoing a complete transformation. And whoever gets on this bandwagon earlier will benefit in creating a global brand, which is very different than creating a Korean brand or creating a Japanese brand. For example, if you look at the number of Chinese games which are penetrating Japan is very, very high. And again, these games don't have translations. It's just the Chinese are creating more games with anime-style characters, which are more popular in Japan. Right? So people are just consuming that content. So what is happening with anime worldwide, or what is happening with, I was amazed at why my daughter listened to BTS. Because nobody in our family speaks Korean. I like Korean food, but nobody speaks Korean. And actually in her friend circle, nobody speaks Korean. And so it's pretty interesting how, so I asked her why she listened to BTS. She says, because if they use bad words, you don't understand them. So I can play the music in my room without anybody understanding the bad words. But the point I'm making is that the content is being consumed in a manner which does not follow geographical boundaries and rules. And it is being spread by word of mouth in most cases, or by influencers and streamers. And this is going to transform the game discovery and publishing ecosystem. So for example, my advice to most gaming companies now is not to publish country by country. Right? You don't know which country your game is going to be popular. For example, there's a Idle Ragnarok game whose #1 country is Saudi Arabia. Now, no logical way they would have discovered that Saudi Arabia is the right country for that game. Right? So, when you think of a game, the target market that you think is the right one may not be your best target market. Right? Because content is being consumed very different by the young generation. So this just, we've gone ahead and kind of institutionalized this. So we, for example, have teams across 42 international markets. We have this concept of super fans. So for example, one of the challenges, like the previous speaker said, if you want to launch a game in Thailand, how do you launch a game in Thailand? Like, where do you find people to produce content for you? So if you wanted to launch in 100 countries, and trust me, your game doesn't need to be translated to 100 countries, but somebody needs to explain how to play that game in that country, right? So we have these super fans in 100 countries. I think we have 12,000 of them who generate content for the games. And it's this actually we are very proud of, which is just this massive influencer network, which lets us produce videos in hundreds of countries. And this is not a paid service. Like, it's not like you could come to us and say produce these videos. If we like your game and we work with you, then we produce the video. But my point here is that the consumption of content is being driven more by influencers in these countries, rather than you just listing your game in the Play Store. Okay. So how you integrate your game with the influencers, what features you can add which help a YouTube or a Twitch streamer streaming your game actually may impact the success of your game as much as the other features in the game. So this is just example of Thailand and Russia, and these are for particular games, and how once you get the influencers involved, the game can just explode. I talked about Brazil, right? So this shows you. The scale here is somewhat big for particular games, but 2 million, 5 million, 10 million installs driven completely by people who are using YouTube or by people who are using Twitch. Most games do not get this many number of installs overall in a country, right? And this is what influencers can do now for you worldwide. So I think the thing to think about is that if you imagine 2 years from now, how people will discover games will be completely not based on these Play Stores or completely not based on search. Like, it has already happened to a lot of industries. It has happened to shopping, it has happened to cosmetics, it's happening to real estate in some markets. We think gaming is going to go the same way. So at the end of the day, game is content, it's just active content. And how kids discover content to watch these days is YouTube. That's what they watch. So this is a transformation that is happening. We are lucky that from our vantage point, we see it in different countries. We see how content is moving between different countries. But if you can get on this bandwagon early, you will benefit from it. And there is opportunity now to create a global brand, even if you're a small studio, and it's not limited to just the big studios. That's all I have to talk today.
두 번째 강연, 저희 블루스 때 로젠 샤르마 대표님과 함께 이야기 나눴는데요. 아마 이야기 들으시면서 좀 궁금하셨던 부분이나 꼭 이것만은 들어봤으면 좋겠다라고 생각하시는 부분들이 좀 있었을 텐데요. 네, 통역사분 오시면 질의응답 시간을 좀 진행을 해보도록 하고요. 이렇게 좀 급변하는 상황 속에서 어떻게 해야 좀 우리가 살아남을 수 있을지에 대한 팁도 함께 좀 주셨던 것 같습니다. 자, 그러면 아마 개발자분들께서 좀 많이 궁금해하실 것 같은데요. 저희 질의응답 시간 진행해 보도록 하겠습니다. 혹시 궁금하신 내용 있으시면 손 들고 말씀해 주시면 될 것 같습니다. 네, 뒤에 계신 분께 마이크 좀 전달해 주셔도 될까요?
예, 말씀 잘 들었습니다. 근데 지금 플랫폼이 안드로이드 게임, 모바일 게임을 이제 기반으로 하게 되는데, 그 게임들은 원래 모바일에서 이제 플레이하게 만들었으니까 당연히 이제 터치라든지 멀티 터치 이런 부분은 좀 구현이 힘들지 않을까 싶습니다. 제가 지금 블루스택을 써본 지 좀 오래돼가지고 모르겠는데 아마 지금은 해결됐을 수도 있는데, 그런 유저 인터페이스가 다른 부분에 대해서는 어떻게 생각하고 어떤 방식으로 개선 혹은 이렇게 개선 방향 같은 걸 생각하고 있는지 그 부분이 좀 궁금합니다.
First of all, thank you for your great presentation, and I think that your platform is based on those mobile games which was made for Android. So the touch or multi-touch system is just based on the Android mobile games. So it is very hard to optimize them into the computer. So it's been a long time since I used your BlueStack, but I believe when it comes to interface, there are some differences and difficulties. So what's your solution to these differences?
I think the way to think about it is that you can always find a game that doesn't work in this platform, right? But you can always find a lot of games which work really well. So if you stop thinking about that, okay, this is a mobile game running on a PC, and just think, okay, what are the games that work well in this platform? The amount of content being generated or the games being generated is so large that when I say we are the second largest gaming platform, it is not just with users. The amount of content we have which is really good for the user dwarfs the content that Steam has, like by several orders of magnitude. So the question really is that not that every game will work well in this scenario, but is there enough games that the users want to play that are enjoyable on this platform? So I think it's two separate questions.
물론 지금 말씀하신 것처럼 모바일 게임이 완벽하게 PC에서 구동되는 것 자체가 100% 모든 게임이 PC에서 100% 구현이 된다 이런 거는 솔직히 불가능한 문제라고 생각합니다. 그런데 사고의 방식을 조금만 바꿔서 생각해 보시면 이건 모바일 게임인데 PC에서 어떻게 구동이 되나 이렇게 생각하시기보다는 PC에서 이 블루스택을 기반으로 모바일 게임을 잘 구현할 수 있는 게임이 많다라는 부분을 생각해 보시면 사실 콘텐츠를 즐길 거리가 훨씬 더 많습니다. 그래서 방금 말씀드렸지만 저희가 게이밍 플랫폼 중에서 2위라고 말씀드렸죠. 그것만 보더라도 저희 콘텐츠가 굉장히 많다는 걸 알 수 있고, 그래서 그 질문 자체가 두 가지 다른 그런 질문이라고 생각합니다. 그래서 결론적으로는 모든 모바일 게임을 완벽하게 구현하는 건 불가능하겠지만 저희 플랫폼을 통해서 충분히 즐길 수 있는 콘텐츠가 충분히 많다라는 답을 드리고 싶습니다.
어떤 충분한 답변을 드렸을까요? 고맙습니다. 혹시 또 다른 분 질문 있으실까요? 네, 자유롭게 한 분 더 받겠습니다. 네, 저기 앞에 계신 분께 마이크 좀 전달 부탁드리겠고요.
네, 안녕하세요. 아까 이제 블루스택 사용자가 3억 명 정도 된다고 하셨는데, 블루스택 측은 이제 단순히 그런 웹 플레이어만 기능만 하시는 건지, 아니면 이제 뭐 게임에 대한 퍼블리싱 사업이나 뭐 게임을 구글이나 앱스토어처럼 뭐 전면에 걸어준다거나 뭐 이런 채널링도 하고 계시는지, 할 계획이 있으신지 궁금합니다.
So you said BlueStack has 3 million users, and I'm wondering if you are doing just web player or if you are also doing some publishing or channeling just like Google or App Store.
We have 300 million users, first of all. And we don't do our own App Store. We use Google App Store, and we use Amazon App Store and other app stores. And we are not going to do our own App Store.
You're not going to do it. 네, 저희는 우선 말씀하셨듯이 3억 명의 유저가 있고요. 지금 앱스토어는 하지 않고 있고 아마존하고 구글 쪽만 하고 있고 저희 스스로 스토어를 운영할 생각은 없습니다.
Yeah, and we work very closely with some of those companies, so we do not want to do our own App Store.
그래서 이런 그런 스토어와 함께 협력을 정말 잘하고 있기 때문에 따로 구축할 계획은 없습니다.
충분한 답변 드렸을까요? 네, 고맙습니다. 자, 그럼 이상으로 해서 저희 블루스택 로젠 샤르마 대표님과 강연과 함께 질의응답 시간 모두 마치도록 하겠고요. 일단 고생 많으셨다고 박수 한번 보내드리도록 할까요? 자, 그러면 한 5분간 정도 저희 자리 정도 후에 세 번째 시간 진행을 하도록 하겠습니다. 편하게 좀 화장실 다녀오신 분께 다녀와 주시고요. 자리 정도 후에 5분 뒤에 바로 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 이번 시간에는 메나 지역 및 주요 국가의 게임 마켓 잠재력과 그리고 진출 방안에 대해서 소개해주는 부분을 좀 집중적으로 다뤄주실 거라고 앞서 소개가 좀 된 바 있는데요. 이번 시간 ABR 스튜디오의 알리레자 나자리 세일즈 디렉터님 박수로 맞아주시면 고맙겠습니다. 박수 부탁드립니다.
Afternoon. Good afternoon, and I'm really glad to talk among you people. Well, it's my first time I'm speaking for a Korean audience, so I'm not sure, but this concept that I'm going to speak about next Big Bang gaming in Big Bang gaming market is some kind of repetitive for me. You know, I've talked about it so many times, so. Some of these points may be obvious for me, and I may pass them, or maybe I'm pressing to some concept so much. So please write if you have a question, or please ask me while I'm speaking if you want me, stay on one concept more, or explain for some concept more. Okay, so before I start, I'm going to talk a little about our company. I'm the sales director of our studio. We are the dominant publisher in Iran with more than 20 million user base, which is a quarter of the population. The whole population is 80 million, and we've got 20 million gamers. And there are a few dominant publishers in MENA, and we're definitely one of them. And with some strategic partnerships with all the influencers and so on. So this is what I'm going to talk about. Middle East and North Africa, which can be called MENA or MENA. Now, I know that game developers, once you develop a game, you're going to talk about the audience, you're going to talk about where you want to publish the game. I'm sure that Rosen talked about that. You don't want to think about that, but if you're going to publish it on some local markets, you're going to have to think about where I'm going to publish this. And now I'm going to give you some insights and a big picture of gaming marketing so that you can decide more wisely. So this is the three main concepts that I want to talk about. It's tell you that why is a must enter. I mean, not necessarily at the first stages, but after all, you must enter MENA market, and to explain what's happening right now, and to tell you what should you do. Okay, why MENA? The reason is like a picture. It's some kind of an investment. So the number of gamers is really low still in MENA because the population is MENA is around 300 million, 400 million. But the number of gamers is still really low, but it's really growing. As you can see, the growth each year, the number of the number of gamers in MENA has. And this is the average ARPU in MENA. And that's what the special point that makes MENA interesting. This number for US market is for around $2 or $3, and in MENA it's around $10, and it's growing. So that's the really special thing about MENA market, because there are few people, but there are super rich people in some countries, and they do like to spend in the games so much. And in a few slides later, I'm going to show you some success stories about some developers that took good attention to MENA, and they saw the result. The next very good point about MENA market is that it's unsaturated. For example, consider that you have an RPG game, you have a strategy game, it's a very good game, it's high quality, everything looks fine. But if you're going to publish that game in US, and North America or Europe or everything, you're going to compete with lots of great games. So some games have better quality, some games have lower quality, but the market is very crowded. In North America, in Europe, for example in Korea, the market for RPG is very crowded. So even if you do have a high quality game, it's really hard for you to position your game amongst all these other great high quality games that people are playing. But in MENA, because MENA consists of some parts that I will explain later, but if the game is not localized into MENA languages, people do not feel very safe playing them. So although they can download all the games from Google Play or iTunes Store, but as long as the game has not yet been translated to the local language, it means that it's like you haven't published the game there yet. So this is where you can take advantage. You can enter, you can by low cost, you can localize your game for that market, and you can be one of the flagship games in that area. And the very important next thing is the growth. you see that 2015, it's, this number is for, I think Android mobile game is from a Statistica from the whole MENA. From 2007, 2015, it was $680 million market cap, and in 2020, it's going to be $2.3 billion. So that's, I mean, the numbers are still low, but that's a huge growth. It's something like, 25% per year. So that's why, investing in this market is going to pay off some years later that, that you can get the result of investing. The other thing is that, okay, so some good leaders in the gaming realize that, the MENA market is very important. I mean, for example, 6 or 7 years ago, you can barely find a game in Arabic or Persian. No one considered that, okay, I have a good game, I published it in America, I published it in Europe, I published it in Southeast Asia, those are the places for the gaming, and MENA players just play my game in English. But when the leaders came to understanding that this is important, first picture is Clash of Clans in Persian, which is in Cafe Bazaar, which I will talk about later. The next one is Uncharted in Arabic. The next one is Invasion, the strategy game by Tap for Fun. It's also translated to Arabic. And the next one is Zombie Frontier 3, which is translated also to Persian. Well, the next, because I knew that I would be speaking in Korea, I made an example from a Korean company so that it can be familiar to you. I'm sure you know Netmarble, but I'm not sure you know Netmarble EMEA. Well, Netmarble has always been a great gaming company from all over. It's one of the most famous gaming companies all over the world. Everyone knows about them. But some time ago, they established Netmarble EMEA, and they focused on Middle East and Egypt. For example, they published some really great games. They acted as a publisher in MENA. They brought their publishing experience from other places of the world to MENA, translated and localized some games into Arabic, published Arabic and Persian, published in Middle East and Egypt. And, well, after a year or two, I'm not going to say that this is the only reason, but I'm sure this is one of the most important reasons that Netmarble is now ranked the 8th greatest gaming company of all time, alongside Blizzard, Activision, Ubisoft, and Electronic Arts. So, that's another example. Okay, so the second part of this speech is that, alright, so what's MENA? And well, it's for to better understand about the MENA market. MENA consists of well, three main regions. The first one is GCC, Gulf Cooperation Council. It's the countries that are around the Persian Gulf. They all speak Arabic, and they're all super rich people because the population is somehow low. And the income from the oil and so on is very much so. You're going to see, princes in there. You're going to see princesses and, very rich sheiks that that have lots of money and will have to spend it on games. Listed the countries are over there: Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman. Between the last few years, GCC experienced the highest smartphone penetration rate. It's around 80% in UAE and 70% in KSA. UAE even surpassed USA in terms of smartphone penetration, because people in there are they have some kind of crave for technology. Every time that a new phone comes, they buy the latest version, for example Galaxy S9 or iPhone X, iPhone XS. And the next important thing is that the store and the source that they download the game and also where they pay the game is just like the global is Google Play and iTunes Store. But the important thing is that you have to translate your game into Arabic for these countries, and it's better, for example, that if you're launching on Android, you dedicate another package name just for the Arabic version, or maybe you add a .ar at the end of your package name so that they can feel that, okay, it's especially for Arab people or something like that, because I will later in my speech explain that, how they love to be VIP. And, well, the next very important thing is that they are social media lovers. Marketing in GCC is all about, well, YouTube and other social media that they're using, but the most important thing is YouTube. I mean, publishers in MENA professional publishers in MENA are spending so much money on YouTube influencers. The more subscribers your YouTube channel has in GCC, the more success you are likely to have. ARPPU is really high here. It's around $270 per paid users. So consider that each user that pays in games on average pays $270. All right, and the CPI price is still reasonable. It's not so much high. I will show you later. Well, localization is really important. I will get back to this later. And they are more hardcore gamers. Well, they play casual games as well, but for example, if you do take a look at, for example, Saudi Arabia or UAE top grossing list, you're going to see strategies, you're going to see football managers, you're going to see RPGs. These kind of games, they play the most because they spend this high amount of time playing games, so they do need hardcore games. This is from Chartboost. It's the average CPI, which you can take a look at them, and well, it's not so much higher than the CPI price from other countries in the world. In some cases, it's even lower. For example, well, in Saudi Arabia, the prices are all of the prices are lower than the USA. But well, CPI is lower and ARPU is higher, so you can add up the numbers. Well, these are the local ad networks. Because once you guys know about MENA, it might be good to hear the names of the ad networks. They became familiar to you. First one is AdFalcon, the dominant player, Plus7.me. It's the largest premium ad network in MENA. It's Matic, Traxnet, AdZook, and InTarget. They are great ad networks in MENA. And but most publishers use AdFalcon because it has all the media and it has a really high market share there. The next section of MENA is Iran, and the reason I divided Iran from the GCC is many reasons. First, they speak Persian, not Arabic, so the language is different. And the second thing is that, as I've told you, GCC people are hardcore players, but Iranian people do behave exactly like American players. I mean, the kind of games they like, the kind of content they like, the kind of behavior they like is exactly like North America and US. ARPPU is still really high. It's around 80 or 90, so it's not that crazy number like GCC, but still comparably high. And the most important point is that they do not use Google Play. So it's like China, where people use local app stores. In Iran, there is one dominant app store, the name is Cafe Bazaar. And, well, its dominant Android store in Iran, it has 40 million. So it's safe to say that anyone that has an Android phone in Iran has Cafe Bazaar installed and uses Cafe Bazaar. It has payment in-app purchase. For iOS monetization, there is no solution as of now, as people, go to iTunes store and, buy, gift cards and so on. But for payment on iTunes, payment on iOS games, no solution has been developed yet because local store for iOS doesn't have any meaning. We cannot have that. But all the publishers are trying to find a solution for iOS payment. But as of now, the only way to monetize through Iran is only Android. Well, localization is also in Iran important, but not as much as GCC because people are more familiar with English language. As I said, they behave like North American people, so they are somehow familiar with the English language, English characters, and so on. I told that YouTube plays a key role in GCC. In Iran, store promotion is very important because the users behave like that. They open Cafe Bazaar and they install the first banner they see. They do not just go through the store to find another game. They install the first game they see. They're easy players. And because there is a local store and Google Play is not available in MENA, well, you can be number one in your genre. For example, I remember it was 3 or 4 years ago, 3 years ago. There wasn't even a single football manager game in MENA. And the first football manager game that was published, that wasn't in Iran, local store Cafe Bazaar. And the first football manager game that was published in Iran, I think it earned around something near $1 million per month. So it just surpassed all the numbers in the market. This is also the CPI numbers. Now, CPI numbers for Iran are really high, and there's a reason. Because some of the global ad networks like UnityAd, AdMob, DoubleClick, and so on, their traffic are blocked to Iran. Okay, so if you are thinking about ad monetization in Iran, global ad network traffic is blocked. So these numbers are, for example, if you want to buy traffic from Iran from UnityAd or AdMob. But if you do use local ad network, the number is really low. For example, around $0.5 in average. Well, unlike GCC, we do not have many ad networks in MENA. There is Tapcell with 40 million users, dominant ad network, because the total number of smartphones is 65 million, and they got the 40 million users already. So that means that they are already dominant in the market. And their CPI numbers, as I said, is very good. Well, Egyptian people, they are similar to GCC in terms of behavior, but not spending. Okay, so in-app purchase is not really good in Egypt because, well, simply they're not as rich as GCC people because they have oil, and Egyptian people doesn't have that much oil, and the population is higher. So the ARPU is not high, but the key role of monetization through Egypt is ads. Okay, they play games like crazy. They play games like 40 minutes a day, and more than 90% play more than 5 times a day. So in every session, they play 40 minutes a day, and they play more than 5 times a day. So they are really crazy gamers. They just do not spend. Okay, as long as it's free, they enjoy the game and they do not spend in the game. And there is a high rate, there is a high click rate in Egypt. And for example, they see a video ad or they see a banner ad, the CTR rate for Egypt is really high. And but they're okay with seeing ads, they don't feel uncomfortable if you show them too many ads. For example, all the match 3 games that are published in Egyptian market do have lots of ads shown after every level. Well, Turkey is a really, really great market. I'm not going to argue with that. The numbers are really high, but the user behavior is not like MENA. Okay, so European publishers, professional European publishers, publish in Turkey. So geographically, Turkey is based in MENA, but behaviorally, well, Turkey is not so much counted like MENA, and you have to talk about European publishers about Turkey. I'm going to show you 2 study cases. The first one is Killbox. The game is developed by a Chinese game developer. It's an action game, FPS game, as you can see. It's like Counter-Strike. It didn't really, it was a hit in the global market, but not as much as it was a hit in Iran, because as I said, there wasn't too many action games in Iran, and they came here, they made localized, they made campaigns, and it's been 2 years that they are below 20 in the top grossing list at Gulf Bazaar. And well, the most famous example for GCs for whole MENA is Revenge of Sultan. For like some years, Clash of Clans were the #1 top grossing for so many countries. But this game, owned by Onemt, they localized in Arabic text, content, art, interaction with people. They made a good combination. And it's been 2 years that they are in top grossing games in most GCC markets, in Google Play and in iTunes Store, and they are making more than $10 million in a month per each platform, Android and iOS. So it's funny, after they did that and the Clash of Clans saw that another strategy game is ranking higher than him, Clash of Clans also started to translate into Persian and Arabic, but I mean it was too late. Now Clash of Clans cannot even get near to Revenge of Sultan in a strategy in GCC markets. So okay, they're all nice words, so what should I do now? First you have to choose, because there are different behaviors. As I've told you, Iran is a special case, GCC is a special case, Egypt is a special case, so you have to choose which one you're going to go, because they need different focus, and they need different attention, and they need different kind of development in the game. Well, of course, localization is important everywhere, but as I've told you, more importantly in GCC markets, if the game is not in Arabic, although unless if you are Clash of Clans or something, if the game is not in Arabic, they don't consider it a game. They don't feel safe to play in that game. They do not, feel that this game is for them. So it's just like any other game in the market, so I shouldn't play it. But if you translate the game into Arabic title is also very important. The name of the game also should be in Arabic so that they feel that the game is translated to Arabic. Okay, I should try this out. And not just the texts, but also in other features, somehow like content and art. Because, for example, again, in GCC, for example, I heard yesterday and the day before that do we need to modify any female characters because they're Muslims and religions? You don't need to do that. Okay, in most of the countries you don't need to do that, but you gotta keep it smooth. Okay, for example, Fatima is a sacred name in Islam. Okay, so you're not gonna show a pretty girl with showing off and name that girl Fatima. Okay, that's not gonna work in Manila because Fatima is considered a really religious name in Arabic people. So you gotta be careful about these culturalized and important factors. And the most important thing that it's the most important point for monetization through GCC is that population is not so much high. So you have to, as I've said, go for the whales, not the fish. Okay, so we call the regular people the fish, and we call the princes and the very rich people in MENA markets, we call them the whales. Okay, and we had a game, we had a strategy game in Arabic markets last year, and I was seeing the numbers, and there was one single player in battle to another player. This single player spent $10,000 to win that player, and the other player paid $8,000. So that's $18,000 in one single day from two players. Okay, so that's a really huge number. I mean, we were just looking at the screen, what the hell is happening right now? Are you sure about this number, Google? But he was sure. So after that, realized that we have to take care of these whales. Go VIP, for example, open a VIP section in your game. It's just for, I don't know, VIP people. It's just for you really important people. Normal people cannot enter that, and charge them for $1,000 to enter that part. Believe me, they will pay to enter the part. And the next thing is that these whales that I talked to you about, most of them has iPhones. So it's really important you publish iOS on Arabic-speaking markets so that you can have a reach to these whales. Another important point is that, as I've said, they are hardcore gamers, so competition plays a key role here. Even though, for example, strategies and RPGs are already competitive games. For example, consider you have a casual game, you have a hyper-casual game. Add some smooth competition to your game, add some parts in your game, some leaderboard, any way that, for example, I can compete with my friend, I can show off that I'm better than you, show off that he's better than me, and I compete with that friend. Because payment in MENA comes just from the competition, not from passing a level. They do not spend much. But if it is for the competition, they pay really high money for to win his friend or someone he knows. And the last important thing is that we beware of the certain events. For example, I don't know if you've heard of Ramadan. It's a month in the year, 1 month in the year, 30 days. There is an event which they can eat during the day. They fast, actually. They can eat during the day, they cannot eat and drink. So they don't go to work, most of the people in Arabic markets. So they're free to play. Okay, so they are free all times they play, for example, 6 or 7 hours a day. So you have to come up with some events in your game during Ramadan or during these events. The other example is, for example, Nowruz is also a huge hit in Iran. It's a 1 month holiday, 3 weeks to 4 weeks, 1 month holiday, and well, people do not work during these hours. So, for example, this is also very important. This is for Iran. For the whole MENA. Ramadan is also in Iran, so Ramadan is for whole MENA, and many other events. These two were just two examples of events. because there are many events in their religion. So that's the next important key. Thank you. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will answer that.
네, 세 번째, 땡큐. 세 번째, 저희 ABL 스튜디오의 우리 알리레자 나자레 세일즈 디렉터님과 함께 했는데요. 좀 내용이 상당히 많았었죠. 저는 처음 얘기를 들으면서 바로 들었던 생각이 블루오션이라는 생각이 좀 제일 먼저 들었고요. 그리고 각 지역별마다 쪼개서 어떤 그 집단마다 이렇게 특성이 있는지 좀 나열을 해주니까 훨씬 더 이해가 좀 하기 쉬웠던 것 같습니다. 특히나 이 나라별 지역별로 이제 선호도까지도 함께 비교해서 알려주셨었는데요. 자리 좀만 더 가까이 와주시고요. 자, 그럼 저희 그 궁금하신 부분 좀 많으실 거라고 생각이 듭니다. 자, 손 들고 저희 좀 질문 받도록 할게요. 네. 앞에 두 번째 계신 남성분께 마이크 좀 전달 부탁드리겠고요.
네, 먼저 발표 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다. 두 가지 질문이 있는데요. 이란은 이집트와 다르게 이집트에서는 먼저 광고를 많이 보는 경향이 있다고 했는데, 그러면은 GCC 지역 나라들에서는 아무래도 소모하는 돈이 많다 보니까 광고를 보기보다는 그냥 바로 자기 돈을 쓰는 편인지 하나가 궁금하고요. 또 두 번째로는 로컬라이제이션을 할 때 게임 안에서 소모되는, 그러니까 자기가 쓰는 제화 가격도 변동이 있는지, 뭐 그런 돈을 많이 쓰는 나라에서는 제화 가격을 비싸게 받는다든지 그런 것도 다 로컬라이제이션에 포함이 되는지 궁금합니다.
He has two questions, and the first question is, you mentioned that Egyptians watch a lot of advertisement when they're playing games, but in case of GCC, you mentioned that they spend a lot of money for playing their games. So does it mean that they would rather spend their money than watching advertisement?
Well, it's not paying rather than watching advertisement. The type of games is different. For example, Egyptian people when playing strategy games, they don't pay. Okay, but for GCC people, when playing a casual game, when an ad comes up, they don't want to see ads. They don't want to see ads. Maybe yes, maybe they buy your no ad in-app product so that they don't see ads. So yes, the type of games are different. So for example, for Egypt, you have to target for more casual and racing type of games, but for GCC, you must target for strategies and RPGs. Type of games is different.
우선 첫 번째 질문에 대해서 답변 드리도록 하겠습니다. 이집트 지역과 GCC 지역이 근본적으로 유행하는 게임 종류가 다르다고 말씀드릴 수 있겠습니다. GCC 지역 같은 경우는 전략이 조금 더 유행을 하고요. 그리고 이집트 같은 경우는 캐주얼이나 레이싱 게임이 좀 더 유행을 하고 있습니다. 그렇기 때문에 사람들이 돈을 쓰거나 광고를 띄우는 형태가 다른 것입니다. 물론 인앱 구매를 통해서 광고가 없는 버전을 사거나 할 수도 있지만 우선 근본적으로 유행하는 게임 타입이 다르기 때문에 그게 다르다고 할 수 있겠습니다. He also has a second question, and the second question was about localization. He was asking whether the price range of the product for the game is differentiated according to the country. For example, the GCC has spent a lot of money, so does the product price for the game, does it go up in GCC area, or is it all the same?
You're completely right. The pricing strategy must differ a lot, but not differ so much because from GCC players they can also download your English version. So the price must not be so much higher. They buy more packages. Okay, so the package price must not differ so much, but they buy more packages. But in Iran, yes, the price of packages you can change them. You can increase the package price a little bit because they cannot pay from the global version, so they have to pay through Coffee Bazaar, and through Coffee Bazaar any price you have, that's your only choice.
국가별로 좀 어느 정도 다르다고 말씀드릴 수 있겠습니다. GCC 지역 같은 경우 영어 버전도 받을 수 있기 때문에 다른 지역과 비교가 돼서 그 가격을 너무 많이 높이면 차이를 확연하게 알 수 있겠죠. 반면에 이란 같은 경우에는 그 게임을 받는 수단이 카페 바자밖에 없기 때문에 거기서 책정한 가격이면 무조건 받아들일 수밖에 없게 되었습니다. 그렇기 때문에 그런 측면에서 현지화를 할 수는 있다고 말씀드리겠습니다.
혹시 더 추가적인 질문 혹시 있으실까요? 네, 뒤편에 계신 남성 혹시 또 다른 분도 손 들고 계신가요? 네, 전달 부탁드리겠습니다.
두 가지 질문이 있는데요. 아까 그 구글이 이란에 진출을 못했다고 하셨고 iOS의 경우에는 결제가 안 된다고 하셨는데 그러면 이제 수익과 관련해가지고 구글 같은 경우에 안드로이드 시장 같은 경우에는 광고 그리고 인앱 결제 부분에서 좀 어떻게 해결이 가능한지 특히 iOS 같은 경우는 수익화를 어떻게 할 수 있는지 그게 좀 궁금하고요. 그리고 두 번째로는 아까 그 라마단과 노루즈라는 걸 들었는데 그때 이벤트 하면은 효과가 좋다고 하셨습니다. 근데 사실 그 부분에 대해서는 잘 모르기도 하고 특히나 라마단 같은 경우에는 약간 종교적인 색채가 있어가지고 어떠한 이벤트를 하는 게 좋을지 그 부분에 대해서 좀 질문드리겠습니다.
He basically has two questions, and the first question is, according to your presentation, Google has not been able to open its own application store in Iran, and also the iOS payment is blocked in many of the countries. So when it comes to monetization for Android, how do you pay for the advertisement or in-app payment for Android? And in case of iOS, how do we pay for a certain product in the game?
Okay, let me explain. The GCC can pay through Google Play and iTunes Store. All of the payment block is only for Iran. Okay. Well, in iOS, they cannot find a way to pay. So monetization through iOS from Iran has not yet been found a solution for it. Still, some people, buy gift cards or something, but it's not a suitable solution. And in terms of Android, as I've said, you must publish your game in the local store, Cafe Bazaar, and people can pay with their with the local credit cards, okay? Because the MasterCard and Visa card and so on, international debit cards and credit cards do not work in Iran, so they pay in Cafe Bazaar with local credit cards with our own money, ARR. So yeah, that's how they simply.
우선 첫 번째 질문 답변 드리도록 하겠습니다. 구글이나 iOS 같은 경우 GCC 지역에서는 모두 결제가 가능한데요. 이게 안 되는 지역은 이란만 그 결제 방식이 다릅니다. 이란 같은 경우에는 구글, 즉 안드로이드 기반으로 하셨을 때는 카페 바자를 무조건 사용하셔야 합니다. 카페 바자에서 이걸 결제하시는 방법은 그 지역 내의 신용카드를 사용하실 수밖에 없습니다. 그 지역 내에 신용카드 외에 마스터카드나 아니면 그 외에 국제적으로 통용될 수 있는 카드 같은 경우 여기서 쓸 수가 없어서 카페 바자를 사용하실 수밖에 없습니다. 그리고 iOS의 경우에 대해서 물어보셨는데 iOS는 이란에서는 아직 수익성을 낼 수 있는 그런 솔루션이 확보되지가 않았습니다. 일부 사람들 같은 경우 기프트 카드를 사용해서 일을 하고 있긴 한데 근데 이게 완전히 통용될 수 있는 방법이라고는 할 수 없겠습니다. And he also had the second question, and the second question was, you mentioned about certain special event in these areas, such as Ramadan or Nowruz, and he was wondering what kind of events he can do for his game when he's applying during that period, because Ramadan or Nowruz, they have certain religious colors.
Yes. Well, you can get help from a local publisher if you're using. Of course, that publisher helps you, to develop some kind of content, some kind of art for these, specific events. But the more important point is that they are free, okay, and they are free, and your event must be engaging. Okay, so the key point is that the arts are not so much important. The most important point is that you can keep them in your game rather than because they want to play so much games, and if you do not keep them in your game, they go to other games. So you gotta keep your event as engaging as possible. But the content, well, you can get help from local publishers. You can search on the internet, or I don't know, any solution might do. But the more important point is engagement.
우선 종교적인 색채에 대해서 말씀하셨기 때문에 이게 아트나 아니면 컨텐츠 측면에서 걱정을 하시고 있는 것 같습니다. 근데 사실상 그것보다 가장 중요한 것은 참여를 유도하는 점이겠습니다. 이 기간 동안에 많은 분들이 일을 쉬시고 그리고 게임을 할 시간이 많기 때문에 참여를 유도하는 게임이 없다면 그렇다면 다른 게임으로 유출될 가능성이 있습니다. 그렇기 때문에 이 컨텐츠나 이 그림이나 아트 같은 거를 더 신경 쓰시기보다는 어떻게 이 게이머들이 이 게임을 계속할 수 있게 냅둘 것인가, 계속 여기에 이 게임을 하도록 할 것인가, 그런 요소가 있어야 할 것입니다.
어떻게 충분한 답변 드렸을까요? 네, 이렇게 해서 우리 세 번째 우리 연사분 ABR 스튜디오의 알리레자 나자리 우리 세일즈 디렉터님과 함께 했는데요. 혹시 뭐 추가적으로 궁금하신 게 있다면은 이제 그 하단하셨을 때 말씀을 또 나누실 수 있는 시간이 있을 것 같습니다. 우리 세 번째 강연자분과는 여기까지 함께 하도록 하고요. 이어서 이제 저희 한 휴식 시간을 잠시 드리도록 할 텐데요. 지금 시간이 몇 분이죠? 혹시 알려주실 분 계신가요? 뒤편에 시간이 없어서. 50분인가요? 그러면은 한 3시 5분까지 가능한가요? 저희 3시 5분까지 휴식 시간 좀 가지도록 하고요. 앞서 말씀드렸던 것처럼 로비로 나가시면 핑거푸드가 좀 준비가 되어 있습니다. 편하게 즐기시다가 3시 5분에 이 자리에 다시 오도록 하겠습니다. 1부 순서 여러분 수고하셨습니다.